Hello and welcome to the show. I am here today taking a look at Juiced 2, another game in which we can, well, as you can see, do terrible, terrible things to some cars. You can make, I think you can probably make some half-decent, nice-ish looking cars. However, well, my current garage is not pretty. I mean, I'm going to blame chat. Partly. I'm definitely blaming chat for our starting vehicle. Yeah, the Beetle. I think the less said about the Beetle is probably the better. It's kind of Barney the terrifying dinosaur. Barney the terrified bug-eyed dinosaur. I mean, look at that. That's a horrific sight. But, yeah, this game has got some really quite interesting... It's like a pretty good car list. All things considered. There is, of course, any game with a Fiat Coupe in it, I'm very, very excited by. I mean, we did some terrible things to a Fiat Coupe. It's quite difficult to make a Fiat Coupe look truly awful, though. We've also got a new Pumamobile, the R32 Skyline. Pumamobile seems like the most appropriate way to go with this. We want to... Actually, the Skyline and the Clio that we have here were both cars that were won from Pink Slip races. Immediately, I then modified them with hideous parts. It's not a pretty front bumper. And then, of course, we have the Blorange 300ZX with the weirdest wing I ever did see and the kind of fishy front bumper. I'm sad to say I have seen a few real 300ZXs with said front bumper. It's not a pretty front bumper at all in any way. Again, underneath there's a very nice car in there, but there we go. So, as you can see, well, customization of cars is, well, I mean, it's a big thing, it's a silly thing as well on the vehicles. Now, as I said, the car list for this, I mean, I'm only about halfway through the various leagues. As you go through, you unlock better tier cars. So you have these cars here that start off in the rookie league, so things like Citroen C2 VTR, a Hyundai Coupe if you want, a Ford Gran Torino, and so on and so forth. So your first event will be running in these kind of cars, and then you have a max league for the vehicle. That is when it's fully modified, what league is it going to end up running in. I think I'm on to League 4 now, or League 5 now. So you could theoretically take one of these early cars, okay, things like the Beetle for example, only get up to League 5, but the Gran Torino, you could get through a lot of the game in that, if you so wanted. However, the game throws plenty of money at you, and not just that, but it also does not cost too much to modify the cars, which is what we're going to have a little look at today. I mean, it has basically got all of your 90s Japanese sports cars that you could want, and sort of 2000s hot hatches and all of that sort of thing. And there are some pretty, I say, different ones. You know, the Seat Leon Cupra R. Actually, the Seats don't turn up very often in games these days, which is a shame, because, I mean, I think it's a really great car. I've always liked the Leons. You got your Eclipses, you got kind of your expected vehicles. Then, as I said, you know, you got the Fiat Coupe. Turns out you've got a few different Eclipses, and FTO is in here if you so fancy. Of course, you got your Skylines, as you would expect. So, in the R34 starts off as a League 7 car. It seems a little bit low in terms of its league, but it can be probably one of the fastest cars in the game. And then you have oddballs like a Falcon, because why not? And the Megane with the silly bottom. We can have a Megane going on. There's even all of the torque steer. There's a Clio V6, all of the twitchy steer. Sleeker GT4s are in here. Yeah, there's stacks of them. Evo, I presume, what was the prototype for what would become the Evo 10. That's a little bit more expensive, and it's about the most expensive car I've seen cycling through here. The S3 is a little bit expensive, but yeah, cars are not particularly expensive whatsoever. And the game throws stacks of money at you, so you can do just about whatever you want to. Well, just about anything you might fancy. I think this is the league that I'm on now, League 5. What do we fancy having a go with here? Can we? I mean, NSX doesn't get... I guess maybe they can't have too much modifications done on them. I want a world-class neon. I feel like a world-class neon might be the way to go here. We can go with a Celine Mustang. Or a 350Z, or a slightly better NSX, because the NSX was kind of more upgrade options available to it. Ah, Camaro. It would be a shame to do something mean to nice Camaros, so we won't do that. There is also Pontiac GTO and Holden Monaro. I feel like surely a world class. This has got to be the car for us today. This has got to be the car for us to run in league. I don't know how on earth this is a stock league. Like, this is leagues, literally leagues above an R34 Skyline. And I'm not quite sure how that works. But there we go. That's not what I wanted to go and do. Or maybe it was, actually. Maybe we have to go through here. Go to customize. However, there we go. Right, figured out how to get to customize. Okay, so most important things. We're going to have to try and get the car looking as silly as possible. These are the rules. I was having... Oh, we could go for a wide body kit. Oh, that's a terrifying face. That's quite a terrifying face going on there. Do we have better options into... Like, some wide body kits, of course, is everything all in one go, and then you can't change individual bits. There might be some better, more terrifying options, more hideous options. I mean, that's essentially what the kit was. Now, some of the cars came with some okay kits. Like, some of the vehicles, it was almost like it might have been possible to make a half-decent looking one. That's a very busy front end. I think more vents and more grills is more good. Can we get any... See, I don't like carbon fibre bonnets whatsoever, so we're going to have none of those. Headlights. This game has a real liking for carbon fibre. Ooh, what the bloody hell is that? Or just blanked out headlights. In some ways, I can't decide whether... I mean, the cone thing in it is a bit weird, but it does have that from standard. So I think we're just going to go with the bug eyes, because why not? Mirrors is normally carbon fibre, like an aerodynamic option, or just sort of... I mean, this one here does actually have the aerodynamic option. You know what? Let's go for it. Why not? Side skirts. Come on, silliness. As you can see, all of this lot, not really costing very much. The last race that I did, admittedly it was a promotion race, I went up a league, was about a 3-minute event that got me 100,000. So this was one of those games that just threw money at you. It just threw money at you and let you have fun. It let you have fun. Hideous wheels are a little bit more difficult to come across. There isn't a massive... There's not some of like the truly god-awful ones that you can have on cars. So it might get away with not having utterly awful wheels, because I don't remember which is the worst place for wheels anymore. No, because they're all fairly nice wheels. What about you? Are you going to have some hideous... Oh, yeah, okay. Don't like those. Look like there are two different wheels put together. Naturally, I would have as tinier wheels as possible. However, the game has kind of its minimum size and is about 17. So we can't have silly... Neither can we make massive donks. Sadly, we tried that. We can often get silly wings, though. Okay, why have we got a lightning bolt? Let's not ask too many questions. I mean, they're fairly sensible stuff. That's kind of tool. Oh, of course, the Dulac Wobble. This is on most of the cars in the game. Some have got like weird, unique wings. The Dulac Wobble is on most vehicles. That's just a lot of end plate. It's more end plate than there is actual wing on all of that. You're not going to have... You're going to... I mean, that's a very, very wide wing. Shall we go for just the full plane? You know what? Let's do it. Disappointing there wasn't any too ridiculous... Oh, that's very ugly. That's okay. That's okay. That's not massively pretty, but we definitely had our winner from all of that. Why would you ever do that to your car? I do not know. But there we go. And I believe a lot of these bits, of course, the juiced ones are just the game's own kits, if you like. I believe the rest of these are actual real stuff. Rear lights? Can we do anything? We can have... Yes, we will have no lights. We will have no lights at all. Now... I like to go for mad colours on the old window tints, because this is another game in which you can get very, very bright window tints. So all the way to 100%, and it is unbelievably bright. Now, of course, the car current colour is far too sensible. We'll have to change that one as well at some point. That was the windows. We can lower the car essentially. It's kind of a shame you can't try and make massive donks, but there we go. We will lower it as much as we can. You can give it some scissor doors, which is about the most expensive thing that you can do, and seeing as you barely see it, I tend not to bother. You can change the seats and the steering wheel, but we're going to be driving from outside most of the time, and we've got very tinted windows. Now the roof, the little graphic shows it as taking the roof off, and I really wanted to make convertibles out of silly cars, but unfortunately, unless there are some, I guess there might be some that can do convertibles, all of the cars that we've tried to mess around with have not allowed you to take the roof off entirely. I want the convertible neon. I don't know why, but I want a convertible neon still with the horrendous bright pink windows. And there we go. Look at the front of that. Look at the front of that. It is amazing. We can then, of course, we can now go and paint the car. This is, I mean, relatively expensive. Is it pearl ones? I think it's this ones here that we can control. We can kind of control what the pearlescent paint goes to. How am I the blue and orange car? So if we were to go for, let's go for a horrendous neon green, and then you've got the colour that it can morph with. What do we reckon is going to be about the worst colour car that we can do here? I mean, let's face it, it's all kind of like a... It's kind of Christmassy. You know what? Let's go for the Christmas neon with the pink. Ah, yes, 100%, so it looks really, really weird from whatever angle you look at it. That's what we like to see. And that's actually... You'd be surprised how many little number of games actually allow you to kind of do that with the paint. You don't really see it that much. Even when going back to these games that allowed you to do stupid levels of customization. Like, this is a stupid looking car. I could have tried to make it look good, but A, there's no fun in that, and B, well, the game gives me the option to do silly things with it. You can also select components that you want in the vehicle. I believe, or I was told, that if you have like the manufacturer's stickers, I think you get the parts for slightly less money, but at the end of the day, it's not really that difficult to afford stuff, so I'm not really that fussed. We've got some weight reduction going on. I like that the silhouette of the car does actually change based on how you've modified it. This isn't just a default neon silhouette. This is actually my car, which is quite a neat little thing. And also, if you do want to go into like more, so you want to get more upgrades, you have to go and do like a little challenge, and once you complete the challenge, you then unlock the parts to go and buy, which is a bit different. However, the AI on this game are not particularly challenging, shall we say. We have spent 30 grand on performance modifications, and most of that was on engine stuff. Like visual-wise, it's actually really bloody cheap. So we have got the most amazing looking neon that ever did exist. And we have got all of these different goals. So basically we've got to complete 13 different goals to unlock the next event, unlocks the next tier, and these are all different. They can be all sorts of different things as well. So win a pink slip endurance race, or win various drift challenges, beat certain people, win a race by a close finish. There is make profit on bets, etc. You can spook people. We'll get to that in a minute because that's always funny. So yeah, your progression is, I mean, you can just search through events, but your progression is done based on these little objectives. Now I'm going to try and pick the shortest race possible because I might as well. Essentially, we need to complete however many objectives. Might as well do it in the shortest distance possible. It was just win a race in Japan, or win a race in Rome, or whatever it might be. I'm going to be lazy. Of course, longer races you earn a bit more money from, but I'm going to be a little bit lazy. Now, as I say, the AI on this game are pretty easy. They're pretty dumb, and I won't probably have to worry too much about them. Even though I'm driving a Neon and I'll be up against all sorts of, you know, expectedly good cars. shouldn't be much trouble for me. Loading times are quite long, although that is fairly common of racing games of this particular era. So here I am with the mighty Neon. We've got a Sylvia, we have got a Skyline, we have got another Skyline, we've got a Camaro, we have got a TT. Slightly, kind of looks like a little bit sleepy. It's just, it could do with a bit of a nap. We have a Mustang, and we have a hideous G6. Now we can go and find one of these guys and place a bet. Easy way to rack up some more money. So shall we go 16 grand? Let's see if you're up for a 60 or 32,000. I think this guy like always doubles the bet. So basically we're going to go for, I mean, hopefully get a big amount of money. Hopefully get a big amount of money at the end of the race. So Celine Mustang versus a Neon that's been lightly modified. Yeah, don't think too hard about the car rating system. It seems a little bit wonky. Anyway, we are off. Now you'll see these little the red things that came up above the drivers. These are drivers that we have to spook. If you kind of follow them for too long, you basically freak out the AI drivers and they make a mistake. Now, as a system, it's kind of an interesting one. As an idea, it's kind of an interesting one. You know, you can put drivers under pressure, which is kind of cool. However, in practice it's a little bit easy, because all I have to do is just sit vaguely close to somebody and they'll generally make a mistake big enough for you to go past and into the lead. It does tend to, yeah, kind of work out pretty easily for me. No, I want to make leader over here have a silly mistake. Oh no, come on, you have a crash. You have a crash, although you've got to be careful because you're never quite sure where they're going to freak out and crash to. They do. I have had, on a few occasions, been, you know, following them around, making them freak out, and had them, we have just pile drive someone into a wall, and had them completely and utterly wipe me out while I was minding my own business, if you like. Oh, hello, I was going to try to go for the shortcut. Didn't really work. I should probably have stuck this in manual as well, because the gearbox is actually starting to annoy me slightly. Oopsie, we've plonked a wall. Driving physics-wise, well, it's an arcade racer, and it is very simple driving physics. This car is supposedly front-wheel drive. It doesn't really act much like a front-wheel drive. Like the Fiat Coupe I was doing drift events in, they don't really, like... They have a designation from what the real car was like, and that doesn't really seem to matter whatsoever when it comes to the driving aspect of the game. It'll sort of... It'll be whatever it feels like, really. You refill your little nitro bar by doing some drifting, or in my case, just kind of lightly sliding around. We've got a new best lap. We've topped out at 160. It does not feel particularly fast in a straight line. Doesn't feel any faster than like the lower tier cars that I've had. Admittedly, I could probably do it with this as well if we were to fire up the nitro for a nice long straight. We'll probably get it up towards 190-ish mile an hour mark. That's what we were I was managed to get the 300ZX up to about 194 miles an hour. Come on, I've got to fire that nitro because the gearbox is very dopey apparently. When I was messing around with the lower tier cars, I didn't really care enough. But on this it is a little bit more noticeable. It doesn't really like changing down. But we're miles clear. After that, like the initial lap, it looked a tad scary. We've now gotten pulled miles and miles clear. I think we've got one more straight to come down here, in which we will fire what's left of our nitro. We'll fire all of the nitro. There we go. Actually, I thought the finish line was further down than that. You can customize your character. I went for make the most serial killer-esque character that we possibly could, and then give him silly, brightly coloured cars to drive. I think it's a perfect idea. I can't see anything wrong with that in any way, shape or form. And there we go. We won 12 grand for the race, and we won the 32 grand bet. It takes the money out of your account at the start of the race, so that's why it says 64. And we won a circuit race. We spookumed someone. There's only two. I only got 2 objectives completed at that time. Shall we go have a look at a drift event? Because so the Crew 2 drift events remind me very much of this game, and I I never played this game when it came out. I only played it since I've been doing streaming and since people have been requesting games and so on. I'd never played really the Juiced series. And I played this a couple of weeks before The Crew 2 came out, and the drifting was hilariously wonky. And then The Crew 2 came out with hilariously wonky, almost carbon-copied drifting, which is kind of strange. Right. Have we got... Surely we must have a drift event of some sort. I don't want to do... Okay, win an Alpine Drift Endurance Challenge. Tokyo Muscle. I don't really want to do a Drift Endurance, I'm going to be honest with you, but apparently that's what we're going to have to do here. Where do we fancy going? Germany, sure. We've got to get 1 million points, I think. Points are a little bit... Wow, we're going to go... That's... exciting stuff. I did not pick a particularly exciting circuit to go to. There are some kind of mad drift contraptions. If you remember the old drift events on Need for Speed, the Underground games, there are some circuits very much along those lines that are just corner after corner after corner. I did one circuit that was just like a downward spiral that was quite funny. This is
as long as you can. If you hit the wall or stop drifting,
pretty
it's game over. As far as scoring
interesting
goes,
little event. Right, so I think this one here is we've got to try and keep the drift combo going for as long as we can. Okay, but okay, not so sure about that. But we'll give it a go. So we're going to try and get 1 million points with this. So the way that the drifting works in this is it's kind of you chuck the car around, and you chuck the car in way too far, and it looks like it's going to spin out, and then it doesn't, basically. It's, in fact, in some ways, I think this is more predictable than The Crew, even in its utter silliness. And again, remember, this is a front-wheel drive car. Unlike the Focus that I use on The Crew anyway, that is rear-wheel drive converted, this game still reckons that this is a front-wheel drive car. I'm not entirely sure. How that works, but this is supposedly a front-wheel drive car. We're halfway there to completing the thing. It's just the most arcadey physics engine, and again, there'll probably be plenty of people who will, certainly if you go back playing this game, if you have no nostalgia for it, who will go, well, it's utterly awful. And yeah, I mean, it is, in that it is a bit silly a lot of the time, and the AI are too easy. I will give it that as simplistic and basic a handling model as it is, it's actually still enjoyable enough to drive. Like, I can cope with it being as dopey as this, when at least it's, you know, solid and consistent. Oh, pinged off the wall. Damn. Yeah, it's a wonky, weird handling. Well, I say, yeah, it's very, very ultimate arcadeness. However, just about drivable enough to be all right. The car customization is surprisingly good. Surprisingly good, and the car list also has, you know, your kind of expected selection of vehicles and some really interesting, slightly more oddball cars thrown in for good measure. And it was a game that loved throwing money at you. God, I wish games were like that these days. Because, yeah, you can really get to any car you want really easily and then fart around with it and make genuinely hideous contraptions like the Dodge that you see parked there. But there we go. That was a look at some of the wacky, weird stuff that you can make on Juiced 2. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.